Your comments to WDEV at radiovermont.com.
So the barber trims my beard all nice, like an artist. Now, I didn't tell him to do that. I wanted the beard gone. So then I went home and shaved it off completely after I was done. I felt horrible.
The passion.
Rafael Devers is the biggest contract in franchise history. He needs to be a leader for this Red Sox team.
The opinions on all your favorite teams.
Are the Patriots close to playoff contention? Yes. Are they close to Super Bowl contention? Hell no.
This is the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
What's up, everybody? A very happy Friday on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM and FM and WDEVradio.com. We have a short show tonight. We're up until 6:10, and it's Red Sox baseball and a big series. 4 games in 3 days, a doubleheader tomorrow against the MLB best and AL East Division best Tampa Bay Rays. Sox got swept by Tampa in Tampa. They'll try to avoid that fate at Fenway. This team's going to have to make some headway, right? Like, playing 500 ball is okay to a point, but when you're in the AL East, you can't afford to be playing 500 ball for too long. The Red Sox, if they want to be serious contenders in anything this year, they're going to have to start winning some games in a row, some games they're not supposed to win, some games against better teams. You can't go 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. See what happens, right? You just lost a series. You had a losing road trip out west, and you just lost a series at home to the Reds, who are an exciting but average baseball team. Now you're going to have to come out and play above your weight against Tampa. We're brought to you by Fecto Homes here on WDEV, AM and FM, WDEVradio.com. They are your total home solution in Montpelier. You can watch the show live on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. We've got the Ayers Auto text line at 802-585-3026. Again, it's 802-585-3026. Feel free to get in there. I want to get to Chris Sale. We'll get to that in a minute. But I got to tell you, I had a terrifying experience yesterday. And I had an experience I've never had before. I feel lucky to have my arm hair and my eyebrows intact today because I was afraid they were going to get burned off. I was afraid they were going to get burned off. Let me tell you what happened yesterday. So I go shopping at Shaw's, right? Last night after work, I go shopping at Shaw's. We get off the air at 6:10. I went at about 7. I did about 50 minutes of work afterwards. I went at 7. I grab a couple of burgers. I did a full load of shopping, but I grabbed a couple of burgers, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go home, and I'm going to cook up the burgers. I'm going to cook all 3 burgers, pack of 3. I'm going to cook up all 3, have 1 today, have 2 for lunch, on Friday or something like that. So remember, I live in a community setting, right? Like apartment-style setting. So the grill is not used by just me. It's not my grill. It's everyone's grill. So you're kind of dependent on everyone to clean up after themselves. So I fire up the grill, and it warms up pretty quickly, and that's good. And I go throw my burger on, and I'm standing over it. It's not like I haven't walked away. And evidently, the person who used the grill before me did not do a very good job at cleaning up. So I start to see all of a sudden that the grill is starting to smoke. And I'm like, okay, that's odd, right? Like I've seen grills smoke before, but this was felt excessive. So I open up the lid and whoa, the fire in the grill is absolutely raging. Now I was going to do my burger for about 6 minutes on each side. I get to 5 minutes on the first side and the bottom of the grill, it is just absolutely on fire. So what I do is I'm kind of not real worried yet. I took the tongs, I turned the burger over, and I'm like, okay, sometimes after you turn it over, the thing will kind of, the flame will tamp down. So I turned the burger over at 5 minutes instead of 6 because I'm like, whoa, okay, clearly this thing is real hot, so it's cooking fast. So I turn it over, I close the lid again, and then boom, all of a sudden black smoke starts coming out. Black smoke starts coming out of the grill. I'm like, okay, now something here is wrong. I look at the temperature on the grill, 650 degrees it's at. I have never seen a grill get that high. I thought that was like what giant pizza ovens get to, 650 degrees. It's 650 degrees on the grill. So now what I've done is I've turned off the grill and I leave the grill open. And the fire, even though the grill is off, the fire was so intense underneath the grates that the fire is still going. So I leave the burgers on the grill because I'm like, look, this fire is still going. There still is some cooking being done here because the fire is that big. It's now like going through the grates. So then eventually the fire goes out. I turned the grill back on, I left the flame or left the lid open, and then I am, I kind of cooked it on lower heat, and I'm like worried that the top side, the original side, is going to be a hockey puck because it's been cooking so fast, and the bottom side I'm worried is going to be raw as hell because I could only leave it on for 30 seconds before I had to shut it off. The burgers ended up fine, but I really thought that when I went and turned the burgers over or when I turned off the grill, I thought that these flames were going to jump and get me. Like, I legitimately thought that my arm hair or my eyebrows were going to be singed off in this thing. I have never seen a grill like this. I have never seen a grill do this. I've used this grill before, this in particular grill before I have used. So it's not like I don't know how to use a grill. It's not like I don't know how to use this grill. It's not like I've never used this grill before. I have. Evidently, whoever used it before me didn't really clean up. There had to have been some residue still all over the place here that caught because I have never seen this before. And, I went and I scraped it afterwards, so hopefully it's okay for the next person. But my God, when I saw the black smoke, I was like, uh-oh, now it's a problem. And then when I opened up the grill, I'm like, whoa, I thought I was going to be burned. Like, I thought I was legitimately going to be, just being over it. Like, I smelled like a barbecue just from having stood near it. That's how crazy this thing was. 802-585-3026. I didn't know if I was going to be in today. I thought I might have to be getting eyebrow surgery or something here. That was a scary experience. Luckily, the burgers came out great. I really thought half of it was going to be cooked, way overcooked, and the other half was going to be way undercooked. But ended up perfect. I don't know how. And, like, I'm not a great cook in any way. Like, okay, boiling water can be a challenge for me. So even grilling simple burgers can be a challenge for me. Don't worry. Like, I could screw up a lot of things when it's related to food. Somehow I got this right. I have no idea how. I've overcooked burgers before. I've undercooked burgers before. I'll think a steak is done and I'll realize that the thing is still mooing. Like, I have a tough time around anything food related. I am lucky that Jess is such a great cook because she is awesome. I need a whole lot of help on almost everything. I get these burgers done correctly in the face of great adversity. I have no idea how. I have absolutely no idea how, but I did. Of all the times I've screwed up a burger when conditions were perfect, this time the thing almost blows up and the burger comes out fine. 802-585-3026. That is your Ayers Auto text line number. And here are the opening thoughts on the Brady Farkas Show. Opening thoughts on the Brady Farkas Show are brought to you by Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber, Vermont's most complete locally owned home center with locations in Enosburg, Derby, Middlesex, St. Albans, and at Swanton Lumber. They're online at sticksandstuff.com. Really bad news for the Red Sox. Really bad news for Chris Sale. Sale leaves yesterday against the Reds, right? He was pitching well. He'd given up a couple of hits, 5 hits, but he had 6 strikeouts. He's throwing hard at the beginning. Then all of a sudden the velocity goes down. He's going from 96 to 91. And he leaves the game eventually in the 4th inning. You could see it on his face. He's visibly frustrated. Here's what we know right now, and what we know right now is not much. He had an MRI today. They say we don't have the results, and Alex Cora says that Sale is in pain, and when the results come in, he's going to see the doctor. I'm going to call BS on this. How do they not have the results? MRI results come back quickly. My gut is that they have the results and they're just not telling us what it is because it's bad. That is just my guess. My guess is that they're telling us they don't have the results yet, so they cannot talk about it before the game today. And then after the game, we can get more of an update. My gut tells me that this is something that's not good. It's something that's going to be long-term and, at least in terms of an IL stint, and probably a lengthy one. That's my gut. Okay, you've got the MRI results. There's no way you don't. You just don't want to tell us what they are. You don't want us to know before the game because you want to focus on the game today. You want to hide Sale from the media. You want to hide the results from the media. And that's fine. That is your right. You want to lie to the media. That is your right. But I believe that's what's happening here. If everything was great, we would have heard, hey, it's no big deal. It's just going to miss a start. And, hey, we avoided serious disaster. If everything was great, we would have been told that. The fact that we haven't been told that leads me to believe that it's not great. And there's a couple things at play here. Number one, I feel bad for Chris Sale. Chris Sale is not always the easiest guy to root for. He's not always the most likable guy. He certainly hasn't been in his career, cutting up the jersey in Chicago. And I get he's an easy target to poke fun at because of his contract. And I get all that. But at the end of the day, I feel bad for a human being. This is going to be now, if I am right, and again, this is just speculation, but if I am right, that this is going to be 4 consecutive years, maybe 5 consecutive years of relatively serious injury. 2019 in August, he gets hurt. He came back at the end of the year. Oh, no, that was 2018. He came back at the end of the year and got the last out of the World Series by striking out Machado. 2019, he gets hurt at the end and gets shut down. 2020, he gets Tommy John surgery. So let's see. End of 2019, that's 1 year. All of 2020, Tommy John surgery, that's 2 years. 2021, most of the year, Tommy John surgery, so that's 3 years impacted. 2022, he's sick at the beginning of the year. He gets hit by the line drive at Yankee Stadium, and then he breaks his wrist falling off the bike and missed the rest of the season. And now this. This is going to be 5 years of Chris Sale being impacted in a row by injury negatively. At some point, feel for the human being. I understand it's bad for the Red Sox. I understand the payroll jokes. I understand the salary stuff. I get all that. And that's a conversation to have too. But my first reaction is, oh man, I just feel bad for him. Because if nothing else, if you don't like Chris Sale, you can see that he's a competitor. You can see that it matters to him. You can see that he cares. The way he talks, the deprecating nature on himself. He gives a rip about this. This is his life. This is his passion. And if you have your passion and your career taken from you off and on for 5 consecutive years, I think you'd be feeling pretty despondent today. I choose to sympathize with that. I feel bad for Chris Sale today because if this is what I think it is, or if this is potentially as bad as I think it could be, then you're looking at Chris Sale missing months of this season. Again, I don't want to be Doomsday Danny on this. We don't know right now. But the fact that we haven't been told that things are good leads me to believe that things are not good. Okay? I know how this stuff goes. If the MRI gets done and comes back clean, everybody comes out early and says, hey, we dodged one there. He's going to be okay. Hey, we're going to put him on the IL, but we think he'll be back for 10 days. It's just a preventative measure. When you don't get the result, it leads me to believe that either we know it's bad and we're hiding it, or we think it's bad and we're looking at a second opinion. I feel bad for Chris Sale, the human today, who potentially has his career altered for a 5th consecutive year. Then, for the Red Sox, this is also terrible. 1, Chris Sale was pitching excellent. Last month and a half or so, he had looked like Chris Sale. Will Fleming on this station had declared him back multiple times, right? Against San Diego. He's back. Tom Caron had said he's back. Everybody was in on Chris Sale, and this team needed him. Chris Sale looked like the Chris Sale of old, and the Red Sox needed him. We talked all year about rotation instability at the beginning of the season. He was providing some rotation stability. He was providing you with an ace at the top of your rotation. The Red Sox here are in last place. They're, I think, 2 games over 500 right now. If you want to get out of that predicament, you need an ace, and Chris Sale was being that. If he is out for an extended period of time and you no longer have that, then as far as I'm concerned, this season just got a whole lot more uphill for you to have to climb, and that's a problem. Now, the Red Sox have bodies, right? They have bodies they can fill. If Chris Sale's out, and we already know We did hear from Marino Pepin on Twitter, who's a Spanish language reporter for the Red Sox. Chris Sale is out at least his next start. That's what we know right now. Corey Kluber is going to start that game. So you have a body. You also had Nick Pivetta. You have a body that could take that spot in the rotation. But Corey Kluber this year with the ERA of 6.3 is not what Chris Sale had been over the last several weeks. So it's bad for Sale. It's bad for the Red Sox. The only person this is good for is Kluber, who now gets an extra chance at the rotation. Not good. And I have a feeling that when we do hear something, it's not going to be good as well. I heard Rob Bradford of WEEI say a little while ago, how do we not have an update? Oh, here's an update. Chris Smith, who covers the Red Sox for Mass Live, says Chris Sale is going to speak to the media at 6:15. That doesn't sound good. Tyler Milliken, who works at 98.5 The Sports Hub in Boston, says, I'm ready to throw up. People on Twitter are saying, fans are saying, that can't be good. I don't recall again, I don't want to be Doomsday Danny. It feels odd, though, that the player is speaking. It feels odd that the player is speaking. If Chris Sale was all good, I think we would have just heard from Alex Cora, like, yeah, hey, little bit of inflammation, gonna go on the IL, but we think it'll be cleared up. We think he'll just have to miss a start or two. Like, that's usually how this goes. Chris Sale speaks to the media and says, yeah, Chris is gonna go on the IL, but we don't think it's a big deal. Chris Sale speaking himself sounds odd. It sounds odd. And now I'm trying to see if anyone else on Red Sox Twitter will get out here quickly with anything, but there's nothing right now additional to that. But yeah, Chris Sale speaking at 6:15. Peter in Williston says, sad for Sale, but one word, Tommy John surgery. That's not the case. Chris Sale left with left shoulder soreness. He did not leave with elbow soreness. He did not leave with forearm soreness. When you hear Tommy John surgery, it's forearm, it's elbow, it's tightness. This wasn't that. This was left shoulder soreness. Could it be labrum? Sure. Could it be rotator cuff? Sure. But it's not going to be Tommy John surgery. And again, I don't want to put definites on things, but Chris Sale just had Tommy John surgery. He had Tommy John surgery in 2020. I don't hear of too many guys getting Tommy John surgery that quickly, back and forth with each other. That back-to-back with each other. Walker Buehler had it maybe in college and then just had it last year for the Dodgers. But that was, we're talking about 6-7 years ago or something at this point. I think there's a time limit where you're kind of in the clear from needing Tommy John surgery again. Ralph says it may be time for him to walk away. Bottom line, he's not the only one in sports that goes through it. He's not going to walk away. I mean, let's be realistic here. He is owed far too much money to walk away. He's under contract. Baseball has guaranteed contracts. He's going to stay and earn every dollar of his contract. So he is going to work to get back, right? He's not just going to sit on his backside and collect paychecks. He's going to work. He's going to rehab. He's going to try this again. I just don't know when he'd be back and how effective he'd be, right? If it's bad but not that bad, maybe he's back in 2 months. If it's really bad and he misses the rest of the season, then he'll try to be back next year. But he's going to keep trying. Chris Sale is due. I mean, he is due all of his money this year, and he's due $25 million next year, or $27 million next year. He won't be a free agent until after the 2024 season, likely. He's got an option, but it's probably not going to get exercised because it's a club option. But he's going to at least be around next year to collect the money. He'll rehab. He'll try to pitch, but he's going to at least be here next year. There's no doubt about that. Texter says, yeah, maybe rotator cuff. We will see. I do not know. But the fact that he is speaking leads me to be worried. I'm disappointed. He's going to speak at 6:15. We're going to be off the air at 6:10. You're going to hear the results of Chris Sale's conversation, I'm sure, on the Red Sox pregame show when we flip it on over to that. So you will hear more about Sale, and you'll hear it as we speak. We just won't get a chance to, or you'll hear it as it happens. We would just won't get a chance to bring it to you live. Brady Farkas show here on WDEV, AM and FM at WDEVradio.com. I've been sitting on this all week. A texter sent in a Red Sox trade proposal. I have to address why this texter is not right. We'll talk about it next with the Red Sox on DEV.
Purchase it outright. We offer fair pricing and quick removal of your mobile home. So reach out to us for a quote today. Fecto Homes, 350 River Street, Montpelier, or visit us at fectohomes.com for more information.
Local businesses advertise with WDEV because they get results. Brian Bittner of Bittner Antiques shares his experience advertising with WDEV.
We've done a number of recorded ads with WDEV, which have a great response. And we've also been doing live radio call-ins once a week for the past few years. And the response of that has just been amazing.
Interested in advertising on WDEV? Contact us at WDEV@radiovermont.com.
Interested in a newly constructed, energy-efficient home? Looking to get away from the hustle and bustle, but don't want to be hours from everything? Welcome to the Beckley Hill Meadows Open House at 29 Peyton Lane in Barrytown, Saturday from 11 to 2. These homes are perfect for professionals, growing families, or those nearing retirement and looking to downsize. Located just minutes from I-89 in downtown Barry and Montpelier, don't miss the open house at Beckley Hill Meadows in Barrytown, Saturday 11 to 2. For more information, visit bectohomes.com.
Tara Noel and the All-Star Ramblers perform a free show at the Vermont Dairy Festival Saturday, June 3rd at 4 o'clock. Recently named Western Swing Female Vocalist of the Year by the Academy of Western Artists, Tara Noel will lead the group in Western Swing standards and old favorites. Tara Noel and the All-Star Ramblers on the main stage at the Vermont Dairy Festival in downtown Edisburg this Saturday at 4.
The WDEV studio is sponsored by Sticks and Stuff and Swanton Lumber, Vermont's largest independent home center, powered by Marvin Doors and Windows. Go to sticksandstuff.com for store locations and hours.
Hi folks, this is Peter Burke. Join Joel Massman and me in the garden Saturdays at 12:30. Don't try to do it alone in your garden. Call in with questions for advice or just to share your successes in the garden.
Brought to you in part by Menard's family-owned True Value Store, Brooklyn Street, Lawrenceville. Blossom's Florist Greenhouse and Perennial Farm in Colchester. And Sticks and Stuff in Swanton Lumber, Vermont's largest independent home center. Go to sticksandstuff.com for store locations and hours.
Do you love a bargain? Then the WDEV Trading Post online marketplace is for you. Get great deals on goods and services from local businesses, furniture, gift certificates, recreation discounts. You'll never know what you'll find. All deals are at a reduced price. Save money, and maybe you'll discover something new. The offerings and prices are constantly changing, so check back regularly at tradingpostmarketplace.com.
Think you know sports better than Brady does? Text in with your thoughts at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Welcome back in, Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. I saw a text earlier in the week. So Red Sox promoted Marcelo Meyer, their top prospect, number 5 prospect in baseball. They promoted him to AA. And the texter said, with Meyer coming soon, does the team really need Trevor Story? What do you think about trading him and maybe getting some pitching? My answer to that is no. Trevor Story is not being traded. Trevor Story should not be traded. Let's just examine a couple of things here. One, Trevor Story is going to be your big trade deadline type impact bat. The Red Sox right now are an average team. Okay? Average teams in the division they're in do not go all in at the deadline. So the Red Sox are not going to go all in on buying somebody else, right? They're not good enough to go all in. They may not sell everything because they're not bad enough to sell. They may just kind of stand pat. So they're not going to go all in and buy somebody. Trevor Story is their acquisition, right? Whether he comes in and hits 400 for the rest of the season and leads them to the playoffs, or he comes in and hits 200 and is a bust, he's the guy that they're acquiring near the trade deadline. And it might be a little bit before that, but he's the guy they're bringing in July, and you have to see what he can do. Okay, hopefully he can be the big style impact. So they're not trading him solely because he's going to be the big impact guy. 2, Trevor Story hasn't played all season, and Trevor Story was hurt a lot last year. I don't think Trevor Story has a whole lot of value right now in the trade market, right? What is Trevor Story right now? Trevor Story is a guy that has 5 years left on his contract, is making $140 million, and nobody's seen him play this year. There's not a lot of value there. At this point, to other people, all Trevor Story is broken down and expensive. Okay, you'd be giving him away for pennies on the dollar. Or you'd be giving him away and eating a lot of money, which I have no interest in. If I'm going to still pay him a lot of money, I would like him to just play for me. And also, I believe Trevor Story is going to be a useful part of this team next year. Right? Like, I look at the future of the Red Sox, and I see Trevor Story and Marcelo Meyer in the infield together. I do not see Meyer taking over for Story and booting Story to the curb. When I look at the Red Sox next season, I think Trevor Story and Marcelo Meyer have a realistic chance to be the starting infield. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. But Christian Arroyo has not shown he can be the guy. Kike Hernandez is clearly not the guy. Pablo Reyes is not the guy. Alberto Mondesi is not the guy. The middle infield next year, very realistically, could be Story and Meyer, and I would like to have both of them. As for trading Story for some pitching, again, he doesn't have a whole lot of value. Your hope is that, Kluber will be gone. You will have signed someone better than him. Your hope is that Bayo continues to get better, and next year he's even better. Paxton is a free agent. He might be gone. Sale, you'll be in the last year of his contract, so his money won't be tying you up as much. And hopefully the Red Sox can go out and be more aggressive in free agency on the pitching front than they've been. But Trevor Story is not a guy I want to trade. He's a guy that I want to keep. Texter says Adam Duvall adds a bat also when he returns in addition to Story. That's true. I'll be very interested to see how the Red Sox handle things with Duvall. I think we're getting very close to seeing Tristan Casas get sent down. I don't know when it's going to be, but the numbers still aren't there. The body language has worsened. He's sitting more often. I think we're going to get to a point where Casas goes to AAA. Justin Turner's playing more first base, and Duvall is there as a DH, or Duvall is there as an outfielder, and Yoshida can DH. I think that's what we're going to see. And Tom Caron has kind of laid that out for us. I don't know when Duvall is going to be back. He just started his rehab assignment this week. He hasn't played since early April. I would imagine he needs at least a week at AAA, if not more. So we might be a week and a half or 2 weeks from this happening, but I can see Tristan Casas being sent down. I even saw Raimel Tapia today messing around at first base. It looked like it was messing around. Didn't look all that serious. I don't think he had a first baseman's glove on, but I think that there's a chance that, I just think the Red Sox are going to find other options at first base. I don't think it's going to be Tapia. I think that it's going to be Turner. Again, 15 minutes until Chris Sale speaks to the media. Heck, they might even go to that live on the Red Sox pregame show. We don't know that for a fact, but I could see them doing that. And maybe they've even held it off until 6:15 for the sake of getting it on their pregame show. Pete Abraham of the Boston Globe says, yeah, Red Sox making Sale available. That is unusual. Doesn't lead me to believe that something good is going on. We'll get to the Red Sox lineups against the Rays coming up next on DEV.
WDEV, Vermont's news station, owned and operated by the Radio Vermont Group. From the top of Sugar Bush, 96.1 FM, WDEV, Warren and Waitsfield. 96.5 W243 Barrie, 98.3 W252 CU Montpelier, along with our founding station AM 550 WDEV Waterbury Montpelier, streaming at WDEVradio.com. 91 years of serving Vermont, the friendly pioneer, WDEV.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com. I'm Peter King in Orlando. The government's May jobs report is a mixed bag. Nearly 340,000 new jobs were added. That's better than expected. But that comes with a slight rise in the unemployment rate to 3.7%. Wall Street reaction has been positive. The Dow gained 701 points. The big question now is what the Federal Reserve will do next. Here's business analyst Jill Schlesinger.
For weeks, Fed officials have said to us they're going to pause on rate increases. Well, maybe the strength of this report means that they will not pause. Maybe they'll increase by 1/4 percentage point. It's going to be a very interesting meeting. It's going to be one where we have to really parse through what Fed officials are telling us about what they see in the economy.
Avoiding default and a recession is why President Biden is breathing easier. In about an hour, he'll talk to the nation about the bill he's expected to sign tomorrow. White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre.
He just wanted to make sure that the American people understood how important it was to get this done, how important it was to do this in a bipartisan way. This would have been a first ever default. We've listed out what could have happened. We created a recession potentially, triggered a recession, lose millions of jobs.
In eastern India, rescue workers are pulling people from more than a dozen damaged rail cars after a massive wreck. Officials say at least 270 people are known dead. At least 400 have been taken to hospitals. Railroad ministry officials say 10 to 12 coaches from one train derailed. An oncoming train hit debris and wound up in the wreck as well. It's been in the 90s in Detroit today, hot enough to send its students home early from city schools. Same thing in Philadelphia. More from KYW-TV's Dan Snyder.
Students at 90 schools across the Philadelphia Public School District were sent home early due to the heat. District officials say it's out of an abundance of caution.
We can't have our students in that kind of weather. We do not want to have a breeding ground for heat-related illnesses.
Fort Bragg, North Carolina is history. In a ceremony full of pomp and circumstance, it's been renamed Fort Liberty, eliminating the name of a Confederate general. And as the post commander says, it's the country's first call now when liberty needs defending. The woman who wrote these words has died. Barry Mann, one of music's most prolific songwriting teams. They wrote dozens of hit songs you probably know from the 60s through the 90s. This one's believed to be the most heard song of the 20th century. Cindy Weil was 82. This is CBS News.
Hiring's a lot easier with Indeed. Their powerful platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in the same place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
As we gear up for warm weather outdoor activities, think Waterbury Sports for all your gear needs. Hey, this is David. Our camping section is filled up with tons of stuff for nights under the stars. We've got shoes and outerwear for every adventure and all the weather a Vermont summer can throw at us. If you fancy a paddle, we've got a bunch of new inflatable paddleboard kits perfect for some fitness or a lazy float. We also have tons of lawn games and activities for those family barbecues. Waterbury Sports, your outdoor gear specialist in north central Vermont.
If it eats and grows, Guy's Farm and Yard Stores can feed it well. For your garden and plants, come to Guy's and find all the soils, mulches, and compost. They'll grow better with Guy's. Now for your pets. Good pet food makes all the difference for your pet's health and happiness. That's why Guy's Farm and Yard carries the popular pet foods from Farm, Signature, and Earthborn, just to name a few. Where else? Guy's Farm and Yard Stores. Portland Street, Morrisville, Berry Street, Montpelier, Taft Corners, Williston, and Fairfax Road in St. Albans. And at guysfarmandyard.com.
If you have a Chase account, you may want to take a look at it right now.
An apparent bug has been causing double transactions, fees, and payments for customers of one of the country's largest banks. With millions of online customers, numerous Chase customers have been posting on social media saying their rent or bill payments were taken out of their accounts twice. They said they'd been on hold for more than an hour trying to speak to a customer service agent. budget. Chase customers are also reporting problems with the payment service Zelle, which allows transfers between banks. Chase apologized and said it will automatically reverse any duplicates and adjust any related fees. Christopher Cruz, CBS News.
License tags in Maine are about to get a new look. The chickadee and pine cone design is being replaced after 24 years. A retro design inspired by Maine's original state flag will take its place. A blue North Star, a green pine tree, and a cream-colored background will make their debut in 2 years. Peter King, CBS News.
Your chance to be part of the show is on the text line at 802-585-3026.
Now it's back to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
5 minutes till Red Sox baseball, a little less than that, 10 minutes until Chris Sale speaks to the media. What do we know right now? When that commercial break, Sale put on the injured list with what the team is calling left shoulder inflammation. If it's truly just left shoulder inflammation, it might not be that bad. I see some Red Sox reporters putting inflammation in quotes, which leads me to believe that it could be a whole lot worse. Again, the reporters do not know. I do not know. I am reading the tea leaves. The MRI, the team says they don't have the results yet. Clearly they do. Chris said, and they haven't told us. That doesn't lead me to believe things are good. Chris Sale speaking to the media at 6:15. That isn't typical for a guy who's going to be back in a week and a half. That leads me to believe that it's bad. I hope it's not season ending. I hope it's not something that lingers for a year. I have no idea, but right now all options are on the table. Corey Kluber is going to start for Chris Sale the next time through. Chris Sale's on the IL, the 15-day injured list. He'll miss at least 2 starts because of that, and we'll hope that it's not much worse. This team needed Chris Sale. This team is not as good without Chris Sale, and the ceiling on this team is a whole lot lower without Chris Sale. Hopefully, it's not as bad as I fear that it could be, but we'll all find out here in about 10 minutes. There's not a whole lot of time to do anything else. I had wanted to do a little Celtics talk today. Bottom line is Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN did put out a note that says maybe Steven Silas, who is the former coach of the Rockets, he was fired to make room for Ime Udoka. He could be a guy who's a possible fit for a assistant for Joe Mazzulla. I would be great with that. If you have had head coaching experience, then I'm in. Now, Silas, I think, was only there a year. He's kind of in the same situation as Mazzulla, but he comes from a basketball family. He's been around the league. As an assistant coach, as a guy in Mazzulla's ear, I could be fine with that. Now bring me more people like that, right? Bring us more people like that, because this team needs some more veteran assistants for Joe Mazzulla. I'm refreshing Twitter here, just seeing if anything in the last minute has come in on Sale. Nothing yet, but again, don't think we're going to get something until he speaks to the media in about 8 minutes. Red Sox and Rays are getting ready. It's a 4-game series at Fenway, 4 games in 3 days, a doubleheader tomorrow, in which case our coverage begins at 12:10 and 5:10. First pitches are 1:10 and 6:10. So they're trying out the idea of a planned and scheduled doubleheader. This was not because of rain. We haven't had any Red Sox and Rays rainouts yet. Tyler Glasnow is pitching for Tampa. He's their version of Chris Sale. Frustratingly talented and accomplished and often injured. He just made his first start, I think his last appearance. 6.23 ERA and 0-0 record. Yandy Diaz leads off at first. He's hitting .310. He's got 12 homers. Wander Franco is at shortstop. Brandon Lau is at second, hitting just .204, but he does have 29 RBIs. Randy Arozarena is in left. Josh Lowe is in right. Jose Siri in center. Luke Raley is the DH. Christian Bethencourt is the catcher. And Taylor Walls is the third baseman. He bats ninth. There are 5 players with double-digit home runs in the Rays lineup today. Garrett Whitlock is on the mound for the Sox, 2-2 with a 5.14 ERA. Behind him, Alex Verdugo in right. Rafael Devers is at third. Justin Turner's at first today. Yoshida's in left. Jaron Duran is in center. Kike Hernandez is at short. Tristan Casas is in the lineup, but at DH today, maybe getting Turner just more time at first. Reese McGuire's the catcher, and Enmanuel Valdez is at second. When we come back on Monday, we'll know what's next for the Red Sox with regards to Chris Sale. We'll talk about the Patriots as well. A lot of conversation on the Pats coming out of OTAs. We'll get to all that on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe out there. Sounds like it's going to be a whole lot cooler this weekend, so some of you will be happy about that, and some of you prefer what we've had today. If you're in the thunderstorm zone today, stay safe as well. Go Sox. Good luck with Chris Sale's presser in 5 minutes on BEV.